how important is it to you that the Department of Justice act on these criminal referrals and bring cases? And if they do not, how disappointed will you be?
I would say it's important to me. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say you know, it's up in the 9 range. With some of my colleagues, it might be a 10 or an 11 or a 12. I think there are questions of individual accountability, which are critical, but there's also questions of general collective social and political accountability, which I think are really urgent and pressing, and we have got to defend the democratic system. But having said that, I do think it's very important that it happened and that we establish that it's not just foot soldiers, but kingpins who are prosecuted. And it's just wrong to send hundreds of foot soldiers to jail and leave the very clear kingpin unprosecuted.
And if Attorney General Garland does not sign off on the criminal charges you have referred, what would be your reaction?
Well, I would just be surprised if that happened. I really would be surprised. I mean, it's so clear that he intended to interfere with a federal proceeding. That's the whole meaning of Stop the Steal. Go in there and prevent them from counting electoral college votes. He called the march and the rally for the exact same time Congress was in the joint session counting electoral votes under the 12th Amendment. That was no accident. And they had to change the date and the time on the U.S. Park Service permit that the Women for America First had gotten from January 21, the day after the inauguration, to January 6th, the Peaceful Transfer of Power Day. I mean, that was the first time in American history that any president had ever called a mass wild protest against the peaceful transfer of power. And it was the only time since 1861 with Abraham Lincoln when there was the danger of violence. And it was only in this case that the violence actually materialized and overtook the House and the Senate. So it was very clear that that's what he intended to do. And it was very clear he conspired to defraud the government, American people. He traded an honest election for a profoundly corrupt and fraudulent election with counterfeit electors. They filed false statements with the government with those phony electoral college slates. And he aided and assisted and gave aid and comfort to insurrectionists at multiple points, including at 2:24 p.m. On January 6th, when he knew we'd been driven out of our chambers. The vice president was on the run. They're chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." And he tweets out, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what needed to be done. And then afterwards, of course, telling the insurrectionists he loved them and they're very special people and remember this day forever. So it was all about aiding and assisting and, of course, inciting beforehand and then giving aid and comfort to them. So we think that, it's just a mainstream heartland application of these statutes to his conduct. And there have been hundreds and hundreds of convictions already for similar offenses. Some things that we didn't recommend referral for, like assaulting a federal officer, destroying federal property, things like that. But we looked at all that stuff, but we think that we were very cautious and conservative in our recommendations.